Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and I'm back with another look at the state of retro gaming. And specifically, we're going to take a look at an expo in Phoenix, Arizona called Game On Expo. Now, it's been several years since I've been to this expo, and I thought this might be a good time to check in because this is, 1,000 miles away from my house. I haven't been here in a while, and I thought it'd be a good time to kind of just see what's what. And this expo has grown quite a bit since the last time I was here. The expo floor that it takes up is about the size of Portland Retro Gaming Expo, but instead of mostly being focused on just video games, Game On is actually, they mix in a lot of arts and entertainment, probably more so than any other expo I've been to recently. It's kind of like they're starting to build out their version of Comic-Con here. Now, that's not to say that, you couldn't come here and buy video games, quite the opposite actually, but there is a big section dedicated specifically, to multiplayer PC and console games. There's also a section that's dedicated to live tournaments of, things like Tetris and Super Smash and, some fighting games and, more than that. There's also a section of the floor dedicated to arcade games that are set to free to play, as well as pinball. And so as you can see, it's a little of everything, which again was the reason why I was very curious to see what the prices are going to be here, right? And what's interesting about this is that, half of this expo, like I said, is dedicated to basically vendors that sell not only video games, but also arts and entertainment. And what's wild is they're mixed in all together. So there's not just one dedicated section where there's a bunch of vendors selling video games. No, you actually are expected to walk down the aisles and just kind of bump into each of all of these things. And one of the thrills of going to expos like this, especially far from home, is what am I going to run into? What am I going to find? And I have to tell you, I was not disappointed. There was some crazy rare stuff here, as well as a lot of common stuff as well. So, all right, let's jump into it. Right off the bat, one of the first tables I bump into is a copy of Pepsi Man for the PlayStation 1. I don't know if I've actually seen a physical copy at an expo before, and as you can see, it's not a cheap game by any means. I don't think it was released here in the US, just in Japan, but yeah, $250 for this. However, right next to that was a Nintendo Wii TV remote. Now, I guess this was a Nintendo Club exclusive, so something that you had to be part of that, and then you could buy it from them. I don't think I've ever seen that before, have you? I saw a new copy of Rule of Rose, but check it out, it also comes with this CD soundtrack. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Rule of Rose is an already expensive game, but to see it new here and also with that CD soundtrack for $1,500, yowza. A lot of people love the game Black Myth Wukong, and here is the collector's edition. This is brand new for $750. I think that actually might be a little less than what it was going for just a couple months ago. What'd you pick up, dude?
So, Gauntlet Legends for the PS1. I know it's not the best version, but I've always wanted this game back in the day, so I was happy to get this. I got it for $15.
Huh?
Yeah, I think they charged me the loose disc price, but I'm not complaining.
Okay.
Got a deal on this one.
Nice, dude. I saw a couple Atari systems here in the box. You see an Atari Lynx here, and then right below that, an Atari 5200 in a really nice box, also for $450. Don't know if I would pay that personally, but those systems do have their fans. And speaking of Atari, check out this. This is a really cool Alien vs. Predator for the Atari Jaguar. But look at this. This is a test crew t-shirt. So this came from an employee that used to work there. I thought that was really cool. Never seen that before. Here's a system that doesn't get enough love. This is the Vectrex system I love having in my game room. And you can see most of these games here loose are about $25. That seemed fairly reasonable to me.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
So I'm getting Steel Empire. Let's see, CIB.
How's it smell?
It smell that.
Oh yeah.
Smell like steel.
Smells like victory.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh, dude.
Nice. Oh, it's got a good manual in there.
Yeah. And you got that.
Yep. And check this out. This is Star Trek Phaser Strike for the Microvision. Does anybody remember what the Microvision is? I mean, what a wild system. And this was going for 33 bucks. I thought this was kind of interesting. So these are weird calculator games. Man, this whole booth just had a bunch of weird and interesting stuff in here, including a Nintendo IQ. This is an N64. Now, I guess what's interesting about this one is that it has matching serial numbers. So it's practically brand new for $1,500. There was quite a bit of PlayStation Vita stuff at this expo, actually more than I normally see, and this was a really beautiful blue boxed Japanese Vita here, and I guess they throw in a game here for you, and it's going to cost you $330, so yeah, the prices have definitely creeped up on Vita stuff. The vendor at this table pointed this out. This is an unusual PlayStation 3 game that has a paper disc on the inside with a download code. You know, obviously very common today, but this was kind of uncommon back during this generation, don't you think? And Pokemon stuff was everywhere. I mean, it's crazy how popular Pokemon is. I mean, it's always been popular, but man, it seems like this year is, wow, next level. You see hardware, you're seeing games, you're seeing special editions. Of course, you're seeing cards everywhere. It's amazing to me. I never got into Pokemon, but man, if you are into it and you go to one of these expos, you're probably going to find whatever you are looking for. I'm lucky that I get to go to several gaming expos a year, but you know, I know that not everybody can attend these. And I'll be honest, I don't always find what I'm looking for at expos like this, and I will go online to do some treasure hunting. That's where an app like Whatnot really helps out. Whatnot is a live stream platform where you can buy, sell, and auction literally anything. For buyers, this is a great place to find deals on video games, both old and new, but also pretty much everything else that you would be interested in. Yes, I do love my video games, but I also collect vinyl records and the occasional Star Wars figure. What's cool is that Whatnot has that and a ton more. It's kind of crazy how big the marketplace is with this app, and it's very busy pretty much 24/7. Now for sellers, you'll have access to thousands of eager shoppers looking to buy what you're selling. The average seller on Whatnot earns around $25K a year, which works out to be about 10 times more transactions compared to other peer-to-peer marketplaces. And as a special bonus to Metal Jesus viewers, once you download the app using my link, you're gonna get $20 from Whatnot to spend anywhere on their app. They normally do $15, but for my audience, they're bumping that up to 20 bucks. That $20 credit will be automatically added to your wallet and applied at checkout. But that special deal for Metal Jesus viewers is for a limited time only, so you're gonna wanna jump on this immediately. So whether you're looking for video games, music, sneakers, toys, jewelry, or more, you're definitely gonna wanna check out Whatnot, and I wanna thank them for sponsoring this video. What'd you pick up, dude?
All right, so good friends with Project Retro Games, and he actually gave this to me, and this is a translation. He did his own translation of this. It's a Japanese game, very rare there. It's a Metal Gun Slinger. I haven't played this before, so I'm probably going to do a video on it on my own channel, but man, it's great. Complete in box with booster.
He does good work.
Yeah,
awesome. And man, GameCube nostalgia is real. I mean, it's been kind of creeping up over the last couple of years, but this year and at this expo especially, there was a lot of people who were looking for GameCube games, GameCube's, systems themselves, maybe some of the more collectible ones. I think it's a good thing that Nintendo's going to bring the GameCube to the Switch too, because it does feel like the time is right for that. And I think that will help probably bring down or at least stabilize some of the game prices. I mean, don't you think? Check out this really rare Pirates of the Caribbean Nintendo DS. So the guy said that this was very limited when it was originally made. So they only made 150 of these when it was sold back in 2007. So not something you see all the time, although what's kind of weird about it, it's really just a sticker on there. So you have to be a pretty hardcore DS collector, I think, to probably put down the cash for this, even though I do think it looks cool. You guys saw the thumbnail for this video and you're probably wondering what the heck this is. So this is a Hyundai Comboy 64. This only came out in South Korea and only for a limited time. However, it is officially licensed by Nintendo. It's a real N64. On the bottom, it has the branding of Hyundai. Yes, the car manufacturer on there. Extremely hard to find. And yeah, they're really asking $1,500 for this. Way more than what I would, pay for something like this. But again, if you are a hardcore N64 collector, this is one of the holy grails, I'm told. This same table also had the Star Wars limited edition original Game Boy, but check it out, it's see-through. I have never seen this before, have you? And I thought this was pretty funny. So they had this officially licensed Barbie movie tie-in with Xbox and Forza Horizon. Does that make any sense at all? And look how oversized this thing is. It's ridiculous, but also kind of awesome. So I didn't pick it up, but I could see me owning this. Yeah, I'll admit it. There was a guy there selling a complete in-box N-Gage with some games to get you started for about $650. Now, the curious thing about the N-Gage is that by default, if I understand correctly, you can't play the games because you either need to have a demo unit or you have to have a working SIM card inserted into the device. So this is curious here because I'm not sure who this would be for, or if you could even just play it just by buying it. So I don't know. All right, dude, what's one cool thing you picked up at the expo?
I could not believe I found this. So I've got a booth in an antique mall, and I found Paul McCartney model kit.
That is so cool.
Now, it has the box, and the model has been built, but it hasn't been painted yet. So you could paint it, and it even has the manual. And this thing's worth probably about $200. I paid $7 for this. No-brainer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What's cool about this expo is that they also shut down the street right outside of it. And so, on the street, they have a bunch of food trucks, but they also have live music. And one of the special guests this year is the angry video game nerd and his metal band, Rex Viper. So I checked that out. They were pretty awesome. They were rocking out really hard. Yeah, this was cool. Something completely unrelated to the expo, but I wanted to mention it because it was just so unusual to me, is that Waymo is everywhere in Phoenix. Now, if you're not familiar with Waymo, they are a fully autonomous and electric fleet of taxis. And they were everywhere. This is such a trip to see because there is no driver in these cars. Now, I'm not sure how well this will go over in Seattle because we have very steep hills and very narrow streets that are not aligned in a grid at all. But still, it was pretty cool to see these in action, and lots of people use them. What'd you guys pick up?
So I'll be getting a signature on here shortly for Gem the Holograms. We have the Townsend is going to be signing this. He voiced Riot from Gem the Holograms.
Nice.
That's really cool. We picked up local tell. And that's a big deal. We've been looking for that one for a long time and got a great deal.
Awesome. Thank you. I mentioned that Game On really feels like they're trying to create their own version of Comic-Con. And one way that they do that is an entire huge section of the floor is dedicated to special guests that are there to do meet and greets, signings, and take photos. And they bring in people from all types of entertainment, including voice actors from the gaming industry, anime, musicians, wrestlers, and content creators. But the big name this year was Tony Hawk himself. And I guess this is the first appearance ever at a retro gaming convention for him. And so it was a pretty big deal. And there was a lot of people here to meet him, to get things signed. Yeah, it was pretty cool. One of the things that I'm looking for lately, and I just got this idea recently, is that I'm looking for physical copies of PlayStation VR 2 games. I recently saw a list of them, and believe it or not, it appears that there's over 50 of them that came out physically. So I have a PlayStation VR 2. I don't really use it that much, but I would use it more if I had more of the games for it. So that's going to be one of my goals, and I did find a couple here. What'd you pick up?
So I had to actually buy a new suitcase this morning.
Okay.
A carry-on, because I got a lot and my carry-on's full. I'm going to Florida. But it's really hard for me to choose, so I'm going to go with the Japanese style comics and chocobos that I picked up.
Okay.
From one of the Japanese vendors.
Oh, cool. So art stuff.
Yes.
Awesome.
A lot of that's like the manuals, the guides, and then I also got a Moogle stuffy, the King Moogle, which I thought was adorable.
Okay.
Final Fantasy fan, if you didn't pick up on that.
Very cool. Thanks. Now in this video, I'm mostly highlighting some of the more interesting, rare, kind of collectible and expensive things, but that is not the entire picture here. There is a lot of stuff you can get at this that's very reasonably priced, just like every expo you would go to. And so yeah, I'm showing some of the more crazy stuff, but you know, trust me, if you want to come here and you want to build up a really good Xbox 360 collection or Atari collection or you know, whatever, you know, some of the more common titles, you can absolutely find them here, and we did too. And that's a fun thing about these expos. You know, when I come to these, I don't bring thousands of dollars, and no, I'm looking for good deals. I'm looking for things that are kind of weird and interesting, and so, you know, I'm not spending $1,500 on some crazy South Korean N64, not by a long shot. But these expos definitely have something for everybody, and that's kind of the point I want to make here. You know, there's really wild stuff, but there's also tons of common stuff and even good deals, especially on the last day. As to what I picked up at the expo, well, I'm going to share that in another video coming up with Reggie. We're going to do another game pickups video here pretty soon, and I'm going to share all that stuff with you because I did get some really cool things. But that's it for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and take care.